What's the fastest way to build muscle without getting fat? Most guys think that dirty bulking is the answer. They just smash food and they grow. But dirty bulking is exactly why I used to end up fluffy, soft, and extremely frustrated. But there is a smarter way. And I'm about to show you what that is. If you've tried dirty bulking before, but you just ended up with a fat belly, I'm going to show you in this video exactly how you can do it the right way, which is going to change your training forever. In this video, I'm going to show you the difference between dirty bulking and smart bulking, how to structure your macros for optimal gains, when to increase your calories, and what signs exactly to look for, the supplements that you can take to help, and what's a little bit overhyped, and the hidden reason that most bulks go sideways: insulin resistance. Let's start with the most common approach. Eat big to get big. The premise of dirty bulking is pretty straightforward. Overload your body with food so that it consistently grows and worry about the fat loss after. But here's the truth. Last time I dirty bulked, I spent 3 months bulking up, got too fat, and then had to spend 4 months trying to get it back off again. So yeah, I built some muscle, but I also put on a lot of body fat at the same time. And the big thing about this is it really messes with your insulin sensitivity. There's actually a study done in 2013 from Garthe et al. That looked into aggressive eating to build muscle in athletes. Essentially, they were just bulking too aggressively, and this is what they found. They gained almost 50% body fat relative to their total weight gain. So if they put on 26 pounds, for example, half of that was body fat at least. And this study was done compared to athletes that were doing it more sustainably and slower at a more conservative rate. So basically, the guys that tried to go hard and fast gained up to 50% more fat than the guys that tried to do it leaner and slower. So the real question here is, if eating doesn't always build more muscle, what does? So let's talk about something that not too many influencers are talking about, this insulin resistance I keep mentioning about. So what is it? So insulin is a hormone that's used in our bodies to transport the macronutrients into the muscle for fuel. And this is obviously great for fuel and workouts, but the more body fat you have, the less insulin resistant your body is, which means that the more food you eat, the food's actually being stored as body fat, not being used to build more muscle. So what this means is that if you're eating in a calorie surplus, but your body can't use that to build more muscle, you're not bulking, you're just bloating. The goal of a bulk across the board is to build more lean mass with reduced amounts of body fat, which makes it easier when you come to dieting the next time around. To do this the right way, this requires precision, strategy, and a little bit of discipline around how much food you actually want to consume. So let me show you what bulking like a pro looks like. So the smart approach to bulking looks something like this. You want to have a precise, controlled amount of calories in a surplus. To build muscle, your body doesn't actually need thousands of extra calories to build it. It simply needs a little bit of a surplus. In and around 250 to 500 calories on top of your maintenance calories is more than enough, and you just need to have a boatload of patience. In an ideal world, you will be gaining anywhere from 0.25 to 0.5 total percent of body weight change relative to your starting weight every single week. So to make it straightforward, if you're a 200-pound guy, per week on average, you want to be gaining in and around 0.5 to 1 pound per week. And this is going to keep him on track to build conservatively the most amount of muscle that he can. My suggestion would be to really lean into the 0.25 side of things, because again, anything more than what we need, you're just going to be putting on unnecessary amounts of body fat. And this is actually backed up by a 2020 study by Slater that found that in a controlled surplus, lean mass was dramatically increased by keeping calories controlled for a prolonged period of time without the additional fat mass being added. Or in other words, when the surplus was kept modest and controlled. Here's the exact framework that I used myself on my last bulk to help you out. For protein, I had 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight every single day. For fats, I multiplied my body weight by 0.3, and this gave me my total fat content for the day for my macros. And literally all the rest, I just filled with carbs to optimize my training. And a little bit of a pro tip, you want to make sure that you're adding protein and carbs pre and post workout, because this is when your body is most insulin sensitive. This means that your body is going to absorb a bigger majority of those carbohydrates, which is going to help fuel your recovery and ultimately building a ton more muscle. So here's exactly why insulin resistance matters and why the guys that aren't paying attention to the science are actually shooting themselves in the foot. The more body fat that you hold, your body becomes more insulin resistant, which means it's less efficient at transporting the fuel to the muscle, which ultimately means that your sessions are poor and the recovery is worse as well. All in all, this leaves a hell of a lot of surplus floating about for your body to then store as body fat. So this is exactly why dirty bulks fail. because your body has literally too much going on to actually be able to handle. All these issues to your insulin sensitivity result in one major problem. Your protein synthesis within your body actually decreases massively, meaning that it's harder for your body to actually build that muscle that you're striving for. So long to short, the fatter you get, the harder it is to build muscle. I know that's not what we're here for, so let's fix that. First thing to do is track your weight daily. If you see that your weight's tracking up far too quickly, you need to pull back your calories. I can put money on it that if you're still in a surplus, you're going to still see those training progressions come in, and you're not going to forfeit any muscle gain by doing that. Number two, track your measurements and take photos of your physique every single week. And the last bit, which is so important, make sure that you only increase calories if you've either stagnated completely in the gym for more than a week or two, or your scale weight has stagnated for about 10 days at a minimum. Because if you're gaining weight, but your strength is flattening out, you're probably just getting fat. So let's address the elephant in the room. Should you main gain or should you dirty bulk? So main gaining is going to be great if you're already holding a little bit of excess body fat, or you're new to the gym. This is one's going to be a really good play for you. A lean surplus, even if it's just 250 to 300 calories, is like slowly putting your foot on the gas in the car, just enough to move forward, but not enough to actually burn the rubber on the car. Remember, you want to bulk to build, not to binge. So if your goal is simply just to get bigger, cool, dirty bulk all day long. But if you actually want to build some serious quality mass without having to go back into a diet in 3 months, take your time, slow things down and do it strategically. So you put yourself in a position that at the end of it, you don't have loads of extra body fat to lose, and you can quickly get back into shape within 8 to 10 weeks. This is going to keep your insulin sensitivity high, your appetite regulated. It'll improve your energy and recovery delivery. And the most exciting bit, it actually helps sometimes to reduce body fat in a surplus, which is really what most of us want anyway. The sweet spot for me was always 4 to 5 weight training sessions per week with maximum intent and maximum intensity. Aim for anywhere between 12 to 20 sets per muscle group across the week. And if you actually use a training split that breaks this up to accommodate more frequency, you're going to see a lot more bang for your buck, because it gives your body more stimulus, more recovery, and it's stimulating, not annihilating the muscle. And the last thing to talk about here is actually cardio. Should you include it in a gaining phase, or should you remove it completely? From experience, I find that keeping it in actually works really well, and not for the reasons you might think. Obviously, when we're in a gaining phase, what you want to be doing is creating a bigger surplus. So in theory, adding in cardio is simply going to increase the amount of food that we have to actually eat. The thing about this is that our body's calorie burn versus our calories consumed are not equal. Your body actually slows that process down. So even though you're actually eating more calories and you're doing more food, it's not 300 in versus 300 out, because it's relative. That means it slows down as you go. So with that in mind, I found that actually keeping it in massively improved my recovery, which is actually going to benefit your overall performance in the gym. And this is where it's really beneficial. The better recovery you have in the gym, the better your performance is, and also the more intensity that you can take in those sets, which means you can push them that little bit further. You can get those extra couple of reps because your body's actually able to handle that overall output. So if it was me, I'd be in a slight calorie surplus. I would be including cardio. I would be tracking all of my measurements, my inputs, and everything else every single week to make sure I have all the data, and I would only make a change if I haven't seen any progress for over 10 days in both my measurements and my food. Hopefully this video has helped you guys understand what the best course forward for you is when you're doing your next gaining phase, and if it has, make sure you hit the subscribe button below for future content like this.